The following program is intended for mature audiences.
Football fans, the time is now.
Give me a hell yeah!
For the football show you never knew you wanted. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Broken Helmet.
And coming to you live on tape on this Thursday, October 30th, 2025. It is the football show you have not heard of ever. Used to say it's the best, but it's tough to do that with records that I've been posting. My brother has been a little bit better, but we will get to that in just a second. To get in touch with the show, you can reach us at brokenhelmetshow@gmail.com or at brokenhelmetpod on X. So I just mentioned him, and so without further ado, I will bring him to the stage. It is the one and only Chris. He's decided to join us today. Congratulations, Chris. Yes. Oh, is that my friendly finger, the bird? Chris was able to grant us his presence this week, only after he had a nice week last week. That's pretty convenient.
You know the birds pretty well, right? Didn't they just smoke fucking giant ass last week?
The birds smoking giant ass, yes. If you're talking about Philadelphia, they did win. You obviously do not watch the show or listen to it when you're not on it, because if you did, you would have discovered that I am not watching the Giants until they fire Shane Bowen, because I have had enough and I can do better things with my time other than invest my hours and my money into New York Giants football when they are just patently offensive in regard to the decisions they make with their staff. But that comes from the top down. As they say, the fish stinks from the head down, because Mara Almighty's going through a cancer battle, is just a terrible owner, and the organization is just dog shit. So I decided to silently protest on my own. So yes, I did see the Scadaboo injury. Yes, I've seen highlights, but I have not watched it. And yes, they did lose to the Birds, and that is the same bird that you just gave me here. But welcome to the show is what I was trying to say.
Yes.
Is it planned around you doing well? Is that the deal?
That's exactly what it is.
You got to do good, make some bank, and then you join the show?
Yeah, 100%. Okay. I think I have a new strategy to make money.
That's the new strategy? All right, that works. So here's what I got to throw at you. Are you familiar with Vegas Twitter at all? I don't even know it's Vegas Twitter, but I'm calling it Vegas Twitter. But I guess gamblers and people out in Vegas that have that hit the socials, right?
You've made reference to this in the past, and I do not follow.
Yeah, it's a trip. You should look into it. I'll send you some handles and you can follow along. But it is a world upon itself, and I can't figure out if it's a joke and bullshit or if they're completely serious. However, it did actually hit Dave Portnoy this week. So I think it's an actual legit thing. Have you heard of decoding?
Decoding, no.
Decoding, no. This theory is that all of the professional sports that you watch have already been predetermined down to the score.
Oh, yes. I've heard yes.
Right.
Absolutely. It's so, I've even watched some videos. It's taken numerous minutes of my life away, and I've followed through with it, and I don't know how people are even considering this or going through this, or why they're wasting their time with it, or how they got me to waste my time about it.
It's pretty fascinating.
It's the dumbest shit I've ever heard. You do not control human fucking beings. You don't.
The conspiracy theory is that these events are already predetermined and that there are agents among the population who are signaling those that can decode the pictures or the sayings or whatever means of delivering the message. Those that can decode those messages, are gifted the results of the game. And so I found out about this through obviously Vegas Twitter, which I mentioned before. And about a couple of weeks ago, there was a picture that I said, okay, let me see if I could figure this out and I could decode it, right? And it pointed toward a Jacksonville loss, which happened, and whatever, tea leaves. So it hit the news cycle again, I think yesterday, which would be Wednesday as we're recording on a Thursday, or Tuesday, as somebody online actually pointed to Dave Portnoy as being a big agent of the codes with his one bite pizza references and show.
It's so dumb.
And talking about how a floppy pizza meant this, and the bites were the numbers were relevant to results and spreads, but I'm pretty sure it's a legit thing. Like, I do think that people are really into it. Is there any possibility that that's real?
No.
Is there?
This is no. This is the dumbest shit that people have ever discussed.
You're cracking my balls, man.
No, I'm serious.
I mean,
serious.
I know people are so serious about this, dude. They're so serious. They are like conspiracy theorists like you've never seen. First off, Twitter's really good for conspiracy theories.
Oh, it's fantastic for conspiracy theories.
If you are a conspiracy theorist like Rich Eggy, it is the place to be. It is the place to live. How many Charlie Kirk? How many?
Me?
How many Charlie?
A conspiracy theorist?
How many Charlie Kirk?
Pump the brakes, my friend. Hold on. Me?
How many?
I'm the conspiracy theorist?
Yes. How many Charlie Kirk
Maybe.
theory videos did you watch?
Oh, I haven't deep
You're fucking
dove.
lying.
No, I haven't. The only time that I spent a little bit extra time on it was when they started throwing out the theory that the lav mic on his, I think it was a lav mic, the lav mic on his shirt was actually a one bullet, delivery device. And that there was a guy in a brown sweatshirt in the front row, and he hit the trigger, and the pager lav mic went off and shot the projectile through his neck, and that's how it is. That was probably the only, and that was maybe like 15 to 20 minutes of looking at those videos, but that was probably about it. I haven't really gone that far into it because, I mean, for all intents and purposes, I don't care. Who the fuck was Charlie Kirk? Nothing to me.
The craziest.
I think it's a crazy event that happened for sure.
The craziest. It's so disturbing on so many levels that I really don't want to talk about it. But
okay,
the craziest.
You brought it up, sir.
The craziest video you'll see regarding that was the guys in the back that might actually hold water. Like, what the fuck are they doing? Why are they running the way they're running, and what are they passing to each other?
Oh, you mean the guy that hops over the table?
Yeah.
The guy that comes in, hops over the table, and the one guy hands somebody something else, right?
Yeah.
Well, I think that was all linked to the weaponized lav mic that I was talking about. I think that they were talking about that was the trigger. And so when he hopped over, he handed off the
he like handed it off. It's just really like where they're going and what they're doing makes no sense for that moment. Like, you hear gunshots. I don't care if you are on the security team. why move in the directions that you're moving right now? Like that just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I
But
don't know. I mean, the Charlie Kirk thing. I guess they're trying to turn it into a movement. I don't know. This is really far off into politics, but we were really talking about conspiracy theories. And no, I haven't invested a lot into that. I mean, I will say that back in the day, and I'm only mentioning this because it came up on Twitter for some reason. I don't know, well, Twitter X, whatever. For some reason, the past couple of days was, and it might be because it was an anniversary, was the Vegas shooting. That one is an awesome conspiracy theory. 2016 was it 2016? 2018? The Vegas shooter.
with the guy that shot into the crowd?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, because that
No,
one.
I mean, you go on Twitter and all you see is conspiracy theories. Like the guy, like them not flying to the moon, and then actually being like fake, and then
Well,
this
not
one
only
guy.
not flying to the moon and that being fake, but it being directed by Stanley Kubrick, who then confessed to his filming through The Shining.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
which was a
so.
documentary of which was
Oh,
evaluated in another documentary, Room 357 or something. I always wanted to see it, and I never was never in theaters, and I've never seen it streaming. But there is a documentary done all about that as well.
and everybody just sits on the fact that it's now been 50 years since we've flown back, and it's like, why 50 years ago did we do it, and why have we not sent people back in the
Good
past
questions,
5
right?
decades? That's the only thing once again, going back to like one random part of the conspiracy theory, like, that's a pretty valid point. We have
I
billions of
mean, a
dollars.
one and done.
We make money. Like, what do you mean it's too
Yeah,
much? It costs too much money.
we stepped foot on the moon. There was nothing there. We're good with it. We don't have to go back. Why would we
That's
want to
what
go
I
back?
mean.
Yeah.
Why in this day and age would anybody want to go back to the moon? That, it makes no sense. Nobody wants to go back there.
No, I'm with you. So that is another good one. So there is the moon landing that bleeds over into The Shining, the Las Vegas shooting, which I think the leader in the clubhouse there was an assassination attempt on somebody from Saudi Arabia gone wrong. But that's a good one to look up. But anyway, as it applies here, decoding and the predetermined sports is the predetermined sports events, or any event, I guess, for that matter, is what I was referring to. But Dave Portnoy from Barstool Sports got brought up into it because they said that his one bite pizza reviews was one of these methods of delivering the results to the greater public. Well, at least the public
That could be the dumbest fucking shit I've ever heard.
Oh, I mean, I'm not saying anything because I'm the conspiracy theorist. You established that. So
You all 100% are.
All right. Well, let's go to something a little more tangible. So you do know decoding. You didn't hear about the Dave Portnoy thing, but now you have. And knowing is half the battle. G.I. Joe. So here's my other question to you. Have you heard the thought, right? There was always talk about how the NFL markets are super efficient and the games are very efficiently booked and spreads developed, over unders, et cetera, et cetera. There is a new theory I've heard people talking about, and I've been trying to track it and go back and look at it, that ultimately spreads don't matter to your betting. And that the games are just more or less decided by the team that wins, right? And so you looking into the spreads is deep diving more than you need to.
So what you're saying is, give me a list of all the games regardless of spread and just pick the teams that you think are actually going to win the game.
Yes. And I don't think I did it justice, but yes, along those lines, that is the idea. And you want to take a guess. We got to establish some parameters for it. But
Well,
let's say,
I mean, I'm going to cut you off and tell you that's what I did last week.
what do you mean? You ignored the spread altogether?
I ignored every spread
Right.
until I picked my bets. But when I was picking like the 272, that's what I did.
Right. And for those that don't know, Chris had a monster week. So with his big bet being the Kansas City, or it was the money line Buffalo, Philadelphia. And we'll get to those in a second. But last week, I don't know, define it by, a couple of points close to the spread, 2 or 3 points, let's say like a possession. Doesn't always break out this way, but let's just do that. Do you want to take a stab at how many games last week involved the spread?
Was there 13 games?
There was 13 games last week, yes.
10?
10 games, actually, the spread actually came into play?
No, 10 they did not.
10 they did not. Well, close, but wrong. 0. There was not a game where the spread ended up coming into play. I'll rip through them right now. Chargers won by 27. Bills won by 30. Bengals won by, the Bengals lost, so they were favored by 6.5, and the Jets outright won. So if you want to say that's a possession, I mean, it kind of came down that way. But in terms of spread, it doesn't really matter. Let's see. Ravens won by 14. Patriots won by 20-ish. Texans won by 9. Falcons got outright demolished, lost by 24. That screwed up all my bets. Eagles won by 18. Buccaneers won by 20. Colts won by 20. Broncos won by 20. Packers won by 10. And the Chiefs won by 19. That spread was 11.5. Not a 1. Not a 1. I went back through the weeks and looked at them. I think the week before I had one game that really came into play. The week before that, I had 3, possibly a 4th. The week before that, I had 2, possibly a 3rd. And did I keep going, Pat? Yeah. And the week before that, I had 4. And, then it goes back into week 3. Who cares? We're done. So, I mean, I'd never thought about that because when you watch the games, obviously, because you're talking about, a touchdown is equal to 1 score, right? And a field goal is equal to a half. That you don't really think about it in terms of, because 1 score equals 7, so that could impact a spread. But if you look at pure scores, it doesn't matter. You pick the winners.
Yeah, but that's ridiculous. That doesn't even make sense. This whole thing, this whole theory doesn't make sense.
I'm just saying, if you look, ultimately, at least this year, I've looked into it a little bit this past week, 2 weeks. I haven't really gone hardcore into years past because I don't have the time and I don't want to do it. But I have been looking at it and I'm kind of like, yeah, you know what? It's fun to pick the spreads if you do any kind of exercise where you try to pick the spreads and you measure how you do against what the actual lines are, and then you try to find value because you think one way, and if you have an edge and you beat the spread, then that's where the edge lies. That's all fun, but ultimately, I don't know if the spread does matter. So this week, actually, when I picked the 272, the first thing I did was I just picked the team that I thought was going to win. And then I tried to adjust based on the spread itself, in which case I didn't adjust anything, I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, I always love to relate professional sport gambling to horse racing gambling because that's the pari-mutuel side of things. And when I'm thinking about this, that's like saying after a race is over, it would not have mattered who finished first, second, or third, because the odds wouldn't have mattered, because you were just picking who you thought was going to win first, second, or third. That makes zero sense. Like there's
I mean,
there's
continue.
there's
Continue your
there's
thought.
52 players on this team. We have no idea what can happen at any moment during a game. How many times is Vegas always almost spot on because of their algorithms? Like, how many times are we like, how the fuck did they know? How do you get it just like that? How do you get it so close?
It's 4.5, for sure.
Yeah.
And I mean, and there's games that obviously, when you look at the pure points, take for instance the Rams game, right, where the Rams were going to kick, that was going to be a field goal for a win. They get a block, return for a touchdown. What was that, week 3
Against Philly?
against Philly?
Yeah.
Right.
That was,
and so then
that's
Philly
absurd.
ends up covering, right? Philly ends up covering, and I forget where that fell on the. Was it a 3-point game, and then they ended up winning by 6? I forget what it was. I mean, obviously,
well, like they were up by 2 or 1, and it was like a 4.5, 5 point.
They were up
spread.
1 or 2, and then it was going to be 3, and so then it ended up covering the 7 or whatever it might have been.
Yeah,
but I think that would have fallen into the spreads matter because they covered because of it, right? So. But if you go back to last week,
like a bad beat conversation, man.
They might have similar threads, the bad beat versus the spreads don't matter.
Yeah.
But anyway, something, keep an eye on it as the weeks go on and as we do the spreads here, because it's interesting when you look back, because granted, again, possessions have multiple points to them in football, so there's a nuance to it. But when you look back
maybe
at it,
maybe this. I get what you're saying. I don't mean to cut you off, but maybe they do matter. Maybe they don't matter at 7 points and more. Maybe they don't matter 7 points and under. Maybe they do matter 7 points and more, because it's easy to win a game by a touchdown or less. But when you start to get up to 16 and a half or 14 and a half, whatever that spread is this week, Green Bay spread, like that's going to matter.
Yeah, sure. So the materiality of the spread increases as the spread increases itself.
Yeah, 100%. Because you giving me these college football lines, you look in these lines, they're 38 and a half. You're like, that matters.
Right, yeah, 38 and a half, right. 44 and 44 and a half.
Yeah, 44 and a half. It's like
28.
44. Are they going to win by
31.
7-8 touchdowns? Like, is that possible? And then they do it. And
right.
You're like, well, I guess it didn't matter. But like, yeah.
Well, there's a couple of those games this week, so we'll dive into it now. We'll get into it. We'll just do a brief recap from last week, and we'll to look at stats and all the rest of it.
First down.
So with this down, we always do 4 downs for those new to the show. First down, just a look back at the prior week stat-wise, and then second down, we look at the best games of the week. Third down is all the rest of the games, and then fourth down is when we do our picks and our wagers. So with first down here, this is how it broke out last week. Charts, if you're following on YouTube, you can follow along. If you're listening via the audio podcast, then I will give it to you here. The real takeaway last week was all favorites. It was 11-2. Both dogs that covered, they both won. So on the year, the favorites have control. The dogs are winning about 66% of all the games that they covered. The 2 games that the dogs won and they covered last week was the Jets and Miami. The teases this year, way in favor of the favorites. 78% of those teases have worked out, while only 63% of the dogs. Over-unders was 8-5 for the overs. The overs have that just by hair at this point. Week 9, 64-57. When you look at the teases, it's pretty much even. Home dogs, they were 0-3 last week. They're under 50% on the year. Big road favorites, there was only one, that was Buffalo, and they won. So far, they're 53% on the year, covering halftime leads. We're 10-2, 77% on the year. Chris, do you want to start to? Well, I'll give you. There were two teams. I'm going to put you on the board. Can you guess any?
Miami.
No. Do you want to go again, or do you want me to just tell you?
Oh, this is a tough question.
You want to go again?
Kansas
I'll give you
City.
one more shot. No, it was Cincinnati, and it was Pittsburgh. Cincinnati had the lead at half. They lost to the Jets, and it was Pittsburgh. They had the lead at the half, and then they ultimately lost to Green Bay.
Wasn't Miami losing to Atlanta? Oh, no, I guess they weren't losing, were they?
No, Miami was ahead the whole game. So those were the two teams that ended up losing their halftime lead. Trifectas, where all three, the Sharps, Money Pool, and the tickets are all on one side. We're 3 and 4 last week. There's been so many trifectas this year. There's a ton this week as well. And then Pros versus Joes, we finally got one of those. That went, and that ultimately ended up going to the Joes. So Chris and I, 272, where we pick all the games. I, again, had the better of the weeks. I'm ahead 53% to 44% on the year, but Chris has got me with the super picks and the best bets. My super picks were 2 and 3 last week. His is 3 and 2. He's over 50%, 500. I am under 500. Best bets, Chris is 6 and 2 on the year for 75%, and I am an even 4 and 4. We continue to do way better picking favorites than we do with the dogs. And then how do we compare to the Sharps tickets and the money pool? Well, the Sharps tickets and money pool were all under 50% for the week. And so I think I am better than all, and Chris, you are better than all but the money pool, and you're just 1% back from them. But this is what really counts, the performance on the year. Chris, again, had a monster week. Yahtzee. He plunked out 2,800, but cashed in 4,200. So that put him way back in the green for the year. He has now got a bankroll of just under 10,000. His margin is 10% now. As for me, it was an offer. It was no good. I ended up putting down just under 800, clocked in 0. And so now that dropped me to 6,300 for the bankroll, and my margin is down 23%. Really awful. I was starting to get it back, and then I once again got screwed, and here's how it happened. Atlanta, I had $767 in losing bets. Atlanta, however, as you can see here, cost me 3 bets. Had they won, at least won by a field goal, that would have ended up giving me 1,000 and would have put me in positive territory. And that is now the fourth time I guess fifth. I just don't have week 1. The fifth time this year that one game has cost me quite a penny. And it's become very frustrating, but that's what you get when you don't do straight up bets and you end up doing parlays and the rest. But Chris, like I said, cashed in big. His moneyline parlay, Buffalo and Philadelphia, he put down 2,000, and that gave him back 3,200. So he ended up netting himself 1,200 in profit. But then he hit Green Bay and Kansas City and Green Bay straight up. So he gave himself an extra 1,000 on top. So, well, I guess you want to take the 500 on top if you were to do a gross there. So, like I said, that ended up putting him up on the week about just under $2,000. So it was a nice hit, Chris. Congratulations. You must be very proud after putting together such a week.
I was playing around with the app last week, and I had the bet all the way up to like 5,000 to cash out. I forget what it was, like 500 to win 600. It was maybe like 8,000, like 5,000 to cash out 8,000, and I was like, this is too good to be true. Like this is such a lock in my head. I can't waste 50% of my bankroll on one bet 1 week of an 18-week season. And I dropped it down to 2,000 and was like, yeah, fine, I'll settle with that. But now looking back, you're like, damn it.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm just frustrated because I picked Atlanta and I probably should have went somewhere else. And I don't, Atlanta, they went with Kirk Cousins on top of it. And Miami is such dog shit. And when you watch the replay of that Atlanta game, because people on Twitter were talking about it before I saw the replay, I mean, that was a Raheem Morris special. They weren't ready at home. Like they came home, a Miami team that was dead in the water, and they blatantly just weren't ready to play.
They were horrible.
It was terrible. Like, how do you put up such a dog shit performance at home? Raheem Morris was the worst.
They were
probably the worst coaching hire in the offseason. Worse than Aaron Glenn.
They were definitely down their starting quarterback and their number one wide receiver out of nowhere. Thank God I picked up my.
I mean, fine, but like Kirk Cousins. I mean, forget it. Kirk Cousins is he's dog shit. How many times can I say dog shit in a podcast? Yeah, it was my fault.
So much money, he doesn't
for sure.
care.
It was my fault for thinking that Kirk Cousins would really value the opportunity to get under center and perform well and try to get a win for the Falcons, who are in the thick of it for the NFC South. But he just went in there and, obviously the people that play on the team would know better than I, but when you watch the replay and after I heard everybody talking about it, he just looks like he was lost. Like it just terrible. And that was my fault.
It was really, really bad. They just looked awful.
My fault for picking Atlanta. I should have just went somewhere else. Houston was my best bet. I could have put Houston in there, and that's what I should have done, and I didn't do it. I mean, I had Houston on on a related bet, so I couldn't have done that with the field goal parlay, but I should have put that into my money line parlay. But whatever, coulda, shoulda. I did not do good. You did do good. And so congratulations there. And so now we look into week 2. And so
second down.
We continue on trying to find the best values and the best bets for week 9 of the NFL. And we will start with probably the best game of the week, easily the best game of the week, the only game worth talking about. And you know what? Little sidebar just for a hot second. The problem with this year is that there's so many mediocre to bad teams that like each week kind of sucks. Like there's like a game or two that's worth watching. And the rest is like you're watching football, but kind of not into it because the football's terrible.
I think just these, you've said this so many times. We're just in the middle of the season. The beginning of the season is always fun because you never know what's going to happen. The middle of the season,
I'm doing a Francesa. I say this constantly.
You always do this, and you don't remember saying it. But
then it is like a Francesa. Have you seen the Francesa thing about him saying, time flies by every week? Oh,
no.
Look up Francesa, time flying by, and every year of the NFL season. Week 9 of the NFL season, and you can't believe how fast it goes. It just goes so fast every year. You start at September, and then before you know it, it's October, and you're halfway through the season already. And he says it every week and every year. And so I guess I do the same thing.
Yeah, you definitely do, but that's okay. It's 99% of the reason of that is that the Giants rarely do good, and so you're stuck with this like hatred of your own team plus whatever's happening with gambling, and you wind up getting this mixture of like
Well,
I can't even watch the game. I can't even watch these games. These games
you know
suck.
the bigger reason for that is simply
because I'm fucking stupid.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
what it is. All right, so we will fly out to Buffalo. 4:00 game, probably be the featured game, I would imagine, on CBS. This will be the Romo Nance game. Chiefs favored by 1.5 in Buffalo. Over under is 52.5. This is the second highest total after the Monday night game, which we'll get to in third down. But right now, the Sharps are in on the Chiefs. 61% of the tickets and 69% of the money pool is in on Buffalo. So here you go. The Buffalo Bills are coming off a bye. They're going to end up hosting, I guess you would say, the red-hot Kansas City Chiefs, who everybody think now is the best team in football, and I think you'd
Yeah, I
probably be
know.
hard-pressed to argue. But so now the question becomes,
they're not the best team, but
which team is better than Kansas City right now?
Indianapolis?
Indianapolis is red hot. You would put Indianapolis over them, even with Daniel Jones. And I can't continue to shit on Daniel Jones if they just keep winning. At a certain point, you just got to put up the white flag.
If the Bills win this week, then everyone's going to say the Bills are the best team in football.
See, I don't think so. I think that if the Bills win this week, I think people are going to say Indianapolis is the best team.
Maybe. You're still going to have to be. Oh God, there's the top of the list is just way different because you still have. You have Kansas City, you have Buffalo, you have Philadelphia, you have Indianapolis somehow, some way. Who else would I not want to play? The Rams, if they're fully healthy, are really good.
I like the Rams. The Rams are the one team that I think if they put everything together and were fully healthy, would probably be, to me, the team to beat.
They're really, I mean, their team is very good. Because they have like a sneaky good defense. I don't know. I don't think anybody really wants to play the Broncos with a healthy. What's his name?
Well, here's the standings. Right, we'll just do it. Screw the division. We'll do the league. Right, and there's the top. So you got the Colts, Packers, Pats, Eagles, Broncos, Bucks. I mean, these are some flimsy 2-loss teams here. But
Yeah.
I think Colts, Packers, I'm just not sold on that offense. But let's keep them up there.
Yeah, but look at the Colts of who have they beaten though. That's the thing. That's what nobody's talking about. Wins are wins or wins. I get it, but
I mean, Titans, Chargers, Cardinals, Raiders, Rams. Rams was a loss. Titans, Broncos, Dolphins.
nobody. They've beaten nobody.
No, no argument here.
I
think Kansas City's better than the Colts.
Yeah, I mean, I said the Colts is a joke, but I think, God, I think Philadelphia's really good. They're very under. People are they always just want to rag on the champions.
Well, now Philadelphia has looked bad in spots. They've had a couple of good weeks in a row.
If Dallas had a defense, that team would be awesome.
Well, I don't know. I get. I mean, I was disappointed in Dallas's performance last week.
Yeah, I was too. I don't know what happened to them.
If you ask me, Colts, Packers, Bills, Lions, Rams, Chiefs. I think those are the top.
Yeah. I think the Lions are really good, but they're very they vary week to week in their output. I don't know. I can't figure out why they fail so badly some weeks. Like, how did they fail
Well, they've
so
only had.
bad?
I mean, they've had 2 losses, right? And if you look at it, one was the Packers week 1, and then the other one was versus the Chiefs, and
No,
that
I
was
know.
and that game was
I
screwy.
know that game was screwy. I know, but they still haven't looked. There's weeks that they look like nobody's going to stop them, and then there's other weeks like, yeah, that was a pretty ugly win. They're good. The Packers are good. The Packers look worse recently than the Lions do.
Not just the offense. They got to figure out what they're doing with that offense there. They need in the offseason to figure out that wide receiver room. Maybe they could develop here with another season and an offseason, but
I don't know, man. They've been trying to figure that out for years.
no, I know. Well, they keep taking swings at it, and the play, Watson gets hurt, and things just don't, play out the way that they thought.
They should have signed like Devontae Adams back. They should
Right,
have paid.
They should have brought somebody like that back. Yeah, Devontae Adams back there would have been good. And he's benefited the Rams, so that was a smart move by the Rams. But that would have been great for him to finish up his career.
It would have been
Green Bay.
It would have been cool. Yeah, it would have been awesome. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's going to be an AFC year. I think you're looking at either a Buffalo.
Well, speaking of AFC, we're talking about Buffalo, Kansas City now.
Kansas City, yeah. It's going to be a Buffalo or a Kansas City or a Colts or maybe even a Chargers. Or what if the Ravens just go on a tear, man, and they don't lose for the next 10 weeks? Everyone's going to be like, oh shit! Now we got to play the
man. I can't believe. I need to see the Ravens with Lamar before I even consider what they could do.
When they lost to Kansas City in week 4 or 3. Right?
I don't remember. Well, the Ravens lost week 1 to Buffalo. That was the fourth quarter implosion.
Could not believe that. That is still
nor could I.
One of the most
that blew one of my
unremarkable things I've ever seen. Yeah, they're going to be tough to beat, man. Nobody's going to want to play Baltimore with Lamar Jackson healthy.
I think they're too far gone. I don't think they're making the playoffs. I mean, if you look at the playoff scenario,
they're 2-5.
Yeah, no. If you look at the playoff scenario, right, you break out the playoffs are kind of almost set. Here's the playoffs.
Why?
Right?
They could go. Why can't they go?
So the top four: Colts, Patriots, Broncos, Steelers. They would have to. Well, I guess because I guess the Steelers are ripe for the picking. But then after that, Buffalo, Chargers, Kansas City, and then you've got Jacksonville there at 3 and 4. Houston, they're so far past.
They're 3 games out.
Indianapolis. So you're looking at Baltimore here at 2 and 5. They would have to go on a run though, and in the same breath, the Steelers would have to have an implosion. But this week, you might get a little bit of help. So
I don't know, man. Listen, the Patriots still have to play the Bills twice, right?
I don't know the record the schedule offhand. So if you know it, then I'll take your word for it.
I'm so stuck with trying to figure out before this game starts if I should start Lamar Jackson or keep Drake May in. I'm just like, my mind is blown about what to do.
Drake May.
Over Lamar Jackson?
Yeah, you gotta see Jackson come back and play.
That's what I keep telling myself, and then I'm like, but he's playing Miami. What if he just goes off?
I don't know. I mean, May has been red hot. I don't know how you bench him until you see a healthy Lamar. But playoff wise, we get back to the Chiefs here. I mean, I don't really know. There's a top 3. These are the 3 wild cards. You got Jacksonville and Kansas City's just going to go up. Maybe the Chargers because have they played the Chiefs yet? I don't know the schedules, but the rest of these teams are kind of out. I mean, the Ravens are 2-5. The only way that they're going to get back, I think, at this point is probably going to be, going against Pittsburgh and somehow pulling off the AFC North.
Yeah, it's going to be their division.
It'd be the division, yeah.
That's the only way they're getting back in.
Yeah, they don't pull off the division, then I don't know. And when you look at the NFC, it's kind of the same deal. There's the top 4, then the next 3 are the wild cards. Maybe Chicago, depending on what happens with Chicago, but maybe the Cowboys in Chicago might be live there. But these other teams, I think Panthers stink and Falcons are obviously terrible. Minnesota's got too many problems between injuries and all the rest of it.
Chicago showed themselves last week when they lost to Baltimore. That was awful.
And the Commanders' year has been destroyed by injury. That's a shame. So They're kind of out of it. But to go back to second down here and the number 1 game, Chiefs Bills. Who do you want to take here? I feel like you're going. Are you going Chiefs? I thought you'd go Bills. I thought you'd end up going Bills.
I always go Bills.
Yeah, you do.
I will root for Josh Allen because I fucking hate the Chiefs, but I'm hard pressed to bet against anybody they're playing right now.
Yeah, I picked the Chiefs as well. So we're both together on that one. And there's no other game, so we'll just rip down the rest of the schedule.
Third down.
And so for third down, we'll start. We'll go tonight's game, which is going to kick off here pretty soon. Ravens, Dolphins. Ravens by 7.5, over under 50.5. Sharps on the Dolphins. Everybody else on the Ravens. I took the Ravens here.
Yep, Ravens. This is my best bet.
So, that's your best bet, huh? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Put a lock in for it. So then we'll go to the 1:00 games on Sunday. Pats, Falcons in New England. Trifecta game. Everybody in on New England. I took New England as well.
Absolutely.
Over under in that game was 45.5. The next game is Packers, Panthers. Packers favored by 13.5 points. So going back to our earlier conversation, that the spreads become more material the larger they get. Here you got a 2-score game. 44.5 is the over under. Another trifecta. Everybody in on the Packers. Who'd you take?
The Packers for sure.
Me as well. Texans, Broncos. Texans at home, and they're favored by 1.5. 39.5 is the over under. So this is the lowest spread or lowest total of the week. I was surprised here to see the Broncos as a dog, although 3 points is the home. So, a neutral field, whatever, that they're favored. But Texans here, minus the 1.5. They have the Sharps on their side. And then big tickets and big money in on Denver.
That game might wind up being like 7-6.
I don't know. I was surprised that the Broncos were the dogs because the Texans line really sucks, and I think the Broncos are going to do some damage. But Bo Nix really is just a dice throw. So I took the Broncos.
I took the Broncos too.
No, we're on the same side of everything here. Chargers, Titans. Chargers on the road in Tennessee. 43.5 is the over-under, but the spread is 8.5 in favor of the Chargers. Sharps in on the Titans. Everybody else on the Chargers, and pretty heavy too, both in the 80% for the tickets and the money. Who are you going to take?
Chargers.
You're on the Chargers, as am I. So, Bears, Bengals. This is in Cincinnati, another home dog. This is the third home dog so far, actually fourth if you want to include the Chiefs-Bills game that we talked about earlier. So the Bengals are dogs by 3 here against Chicago. 50.5 is the over-under. Sharps on the Bears, everybody else on the Bengals. I'm going to end up taking Chicago.
I picked Chicago, but if Flacco plays with no injury designation, it's going to be hard to bet against that.
Yeah, maybe. Flacco had one good game against Pittsburgh, and then what?
He is so much better for that team.
Well, yeah, because they told him throw the ball to Higgins, throw the ball to Chase, and that's what he did in Pittsburgh. with 23 targets or whatever it was, something ridiculous. So I'm with you. I don't know. I took the Bears. You got to make a choice. You can't
Bro,
wait till the injury news.
They should have crushed the Jets. Their defense just collapsed.
Yeah, the defense is terrible. But it all goes together.
I picked Chicago, so I'm not going to change it. I'll change it.
I'm on Chicago
weekend.
too. I'm kind of thinking about changing to Chicago, but no, I'm sticking with it here. Colts Steelers. Colts favored by 3 on the road. Third home dog in a row. 50.5 is the over/under trifecta game. Everybody in on Indianapolis. Do you believe in Indiana Jones here on the road?
No, I don't. I got Pittsburgh.
You got Pittsburgh. So we finally break. I took the Colts here. I think that Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers are a farce. I think Rodgers is terrible, or as he says, he's a fucking cocksucker, right? So
he is a cocksucker, but the Pittsburgh defense is the best defense that Indianapolis has seen.
All right. Well, we're going to find out there. Lions-Vikings, final 1:00 game. Lions by 8.5, 48.5. 8.5 is the spread, 48.5 is the total. And the Sharps are going to come in on Minnesota, while both tickets and money are in the 80 percentile for the Lions.
Yeah, money's going to come in on the Lions. Sharps is definitely going to come in on the Vikings because 8.5 is right over that mark. But
the Vikings look terrible.
Vikings look really, really, really bad. But that's also, there's no J.J. McCarthy for weeks, so.
Well,
with the
phantom benched, right? I mean,
the phantom high ankle sprain, which there's still no video of, by the way.
I mean, who cares at this point?
I took Detroit.
Yeah, I took Detroit too. So 4:00 games. Rams, Saints, Rams at home here, favored by 14.5. Trifecta, everybody in on the Rams, and 43.5 is the over/under. I took Los Angeles.
Yep. It's going to be very hard not to take Los Angeles.
Yeah, quarterback change for New Orleans. Jags, Raiders, your Raiders are going to be a home dog here as Jacksonville is favored by 3 in Las Vegas. 44.5 is the over/under. Yet another trifecta game. Everybody in on the Jaguars. I took the Raiders.
Me too.
Yeah. Jacksonville's going to win this game probably, but I can't go with Jacksonville because they burnt me too many times. And if the Raiders are worth anything, you got to get a win here. This is going to be the Sunday night football game as the Seahawks and Commanders face off in Washington. 47.5 is the total. And the Seahawks are going to be a road favorite here by 3. Not only that, they're a trifecta bet right now, both in the 80s for the tickets and the money. I didn't know what to do here. I ended up going with Seattle. I really wanted to go with the Commanders, but the Commanders have been so broken this year.
They're broken. That's the problem. I'm going Seattle. I mean, I went Seattle. That should be a layup for them.
Yeah, I thought the same thing, but Sunday night football on the road.
Where's your Sunday night football music, bro?
Oh, I have it. It's right here. I was going to hit it, and then I already started talking about it, so then I faded it out. So the Seahawks winning by 3. So Seahawks by 3. We're both in on the Seahawks there. And so that leaves one game left, and that is Monday Night Football. So where the Cowboys will host the Arizona Cardinals. Cowboys favored by 2.5. 53.5 is the over/under, the highest point total of the week. Trifecta as well. Everybody in on the Cowboys currently. And Monday Night Football will change, but right now it is in the 60s.
This is another one I don't know what to do because I have Prescott and May on the same team as well.
It's May, dude. It's May.
I don't know, man.
I don't have May, so I don't know what he's done like per game based on is it a scoring system similar to ours?
Yeah, I have a score. I have him in so many leagues, and I have him in Mahomes
I would
in one league.
imagine May's in the 20s each week.
Oh yeah,
20s, 30s,
20,
yeah.
20s, 30s.
Yeah. You don't change horses midstream.
Wow. What,
Wag the
what,
dog.
but what you have Mahomes? What I have Mahomes in May also that I'm stuck on.
Yeah, actually, Mahomes has had a decent year, but
He's
May is
number
the
one.
I'm going with May. May versus Mahomes on the road against Buffalo. I'm going with May.
That's
But
crazy.
he's home
How do
versus
you?
the Falcons. Atlanta's defense. I mean, they talked it up. They blitz and they drafted all these, young athletes, and I haven't seen shit. So, but we're talking Cowboys Cardinals here. I'm taking the Cowboys in the 2.5.
Cowboys, absolutely.
I was surprised it was so low, to be honest. So
I am too, but they're thinking that Dallas's defense is just that shitty.
I know, but I mean, in order to capitalize, you need a quarterback or a functional offense, and for the most part, what are you getting there? I want to make
You're
sure. Can
getting
you?
Zonovan Bam Knight.
Yeah, Bam Knight and what do you call it? In Mayor of Munchkinville. Oh, the have you heard the what do you call it? The I'm sorry, I got distracted here because my phone went off, and I don't know. Can you hear that phone on your end?
No,
Because I can hear it in mine, so I didn't know if it broke into the broadcast there.
no.
So anyway, but you need Kyler Murray, who Mike Lombardi called a mayor of Munchkinland when he was doing the GM shuffle. And have you heard Pablo Torre just go all in on Mr. Lombardi and just blow him to smithereens?
No.
Yeah, he spent the whole Pablo Torre finds out on Mike Lombardi, who he is, and basically undressing him. Any thoughts on Pablo Torre? Do you know him? Do you follow
Torre?
him?
No, I don't.
Pablo Torre, yes. He's the greatest thing since sliced bread in the investigative sports journalism. And
Oh
he
no.
has no problem telling you that either because he does love himself some him. He's part of what is it, Meadowlark Media, which is Dan Lebitard's company. But he
Oh,
does deep dives on shit. But the only problem is that he usually deep dives on stuff that really nobody cares about. Loves he actually did have, I will give him credit, he did have the NBA gambling scandal in the summer before this whole FBI thing hit. But he's made his bones on going all in on the Jordan Hudson relationship with Bill Belichick, and now he's doing Mike Lombardi, and it's just, I don't know. It's not my cup of tea, but you can't get away from him if you are on social or digest any kind of podcast content because everybody's always throwing his shit, and people talk about him like he's the fucking next Christ. Oh, Pablo Torre, he's so good. Everybody should be Pablo Torre. They should all do investigative journalism like Pablo Torre does. It was like investigative journalism. The guy just broke down fucking Mike Lombardi. Who cares? That's where this whole thing started. Mike Lombardi, mayor, Munchkinland, Arizona. I don't think that they really have a quarterback that's going to be capitalized on the Cowboys' defense, and so the Cowboys, I'm taking them as you are, 2.5 at home. So that is it for third down. And I just turned down my pot, so when I went to go hit my drop machine, it made no sound.
Fourth down.
But now it did. That's a couple of years in radio, and I still don't know how to run a podcast. So go figure. Here we go. We've got our picks and our wagers. So I am behind you, so we will flip it. I will go first. That way, if there's anything that you like of mine, you can cherry pick, although I would not because I have been just a straight loser this year. So we will begin with best bets. My best bet is New England minus 5.5, and my survivor is the Rams. I looked at New England, Green Bay, Detroit, the Rams, and Dallas. I couldn't use Detroit because I used them previously, so I measured out all of the remaining games, and they're going to get tough for me over the next couple of weeks, but I took the Rams in this one. So then I will go to my super contest picks. Give me my best bet, New England at -5.5. Give me Indianapolis -3. Detroit -8.5. Kansas City -1.5. And Dallas -2.5. Those are all of my super contest picks. So, Chris, over to you for your best bet, Survivor, and super contest.
Are you still alive in Survivor?
Yes, I have not lost yet. You only have that one loss, and that was Green Bay, which was the tie versus Dallas, which is considered a loss.
Is it?
Yes.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it was covered. It was all over the place. It was all over the place that week because there was a bunch of people that had Green Bay, and a tie is a loss.
No, says who?
It is. It is. The circuit contest rules, a tie is a loss.
Oh, that is the dumbest shit. That is even more dumb than the goddamn conspiracy theories you came up with.
Sorry. It is what it is, dude.
I don't agree.
Well, continue on.
My best bet is Baltimore 6.5.
You're taking Baltimore in the 6.5.
I'm sorry, 7.5. I think now it's all the way up to 7.5 on Hard Rock. It was 6.5 early this morning, but
I checked all the lines. It was 7.5, but you're going to
it's
7.5.
It's 7.5 now. Yeah,
and that was your best bet, and that leaves. So that's your best bet. Your Survivor is
the Rams.
You took the Rams as well. Okay.
Yep.
And that leaves you with your super contest picks.
Denver, Detroit.
Whoa, hold on. Slow down there, cowboy. Denver, Detroit.
The Chargers.
Okay.
The Chiefs.
And
the Cowboys.
And the Cowboys. So we have got a total of 1, 2, 3 teams that are the same. We've got Dallas, Kansas City, and Detroit both in our super contest, and then we differ there. You got Denver and the Chargers. I've got New England and Indianapolis. So that brings us to my bets. And here it is. So my first bet, I am going to do field goal parlay, Detroit, Detroit, Green Bay, and the Rams, all by a field goal, 250 to bring back 395. Then I'm going to juice up all those spreads, but I didn't juice them all the same. I did Detroit -5.5, not -6.5. I was just playing with the numbers. So Detroit -5.5, Green Bay -6.5, the Rams -6.5. Give me 200 for 502 there. So again, it's kind of like a correlated ladder parlay. Then I am going to take Indianapolis -3 and Dallas -2.5. Give me 200 to bring back 692 there. Then add on to that Detroit and New England by a field goal. So obviously, if my other two parlays above hit, well, Detroit, I'm going to get this, and then I put New England in there. So Indianapolis, Dallas as one part of the parlay, and then give me Detroit and New England both -2.5. That's 100 for 658 because it includes all four legs. San Francisco -2.5, Kansas City -1.5. Give me 200 for 700 in return there. Then I am going to do a money line parlay. New England, Green Bay, Detroit, the Rams, and Dallas, 250 for 876 coming back there. And then give me two final correlated parlays. San Francisco -2.5, Jacksonville -3, Seattle -3. Yes, I know I picked the Raiders, but I'm doing Jacksonville -3 here because this whole bet is road teams that I'm kind of uncomfortable picking. So that was the deal. San Francisco -2.5, Jacksonville -3, Seattle -3, 100 for 700, and then tack on a money line, Detroit, Green Bay, Rams with those 50 for 500 coming back. So that's all the losers that I put together this week. And so now I will let you give your winners.
So I did straight bet Baltimore. I lowered it to 6.5 and bet 500 to win a measly 830, so a profit of 330.
Well, if you, I don't know what the odds were on that, but if you listen to the low stress bets with that Catline episode, that feels like that was something along those lines. Although he probably would have brought it down even more than 6.5. He probably would have brought it down to like 3.5 or something to get to.
Yeah, but I didn't. But I did not want to wager. I didn't want to wager an absurd amount on a Thursday night game. I hate that.
No, I understand. I was just referencing other methodologies that people use in bet, and that one was Matt, who had come on a couple weeks ago. But so minus 6.5, and so that was 500 for 830 in return. Okay.
Yeah. Then I'm going to do a money line parlay, and I'm going to use New England and Pittsburgh to upset Indy, and that's going to be just 200 to win 660.
Okay.
Then I'm going to do 2 parlays with alt spreads. I'm going to do Detroit, 4-team, 150. This is going to cash out 1,200. I'm going to do
you got all over the place there. So give me what the risk was in the reward.
150 to win 1,200.
Okay, and then what are the teams?
This is going to be Detroit minus 2.5. The Chargers minus 2.5. Denver minus 2.5. And Cincinnati money line.
Okay.
Now,
they're dogs.
That is with the hope, as we discussed, Chicago is my pick in the 272. However, I'm banking on Flacco playing, and that will change. So I'm going to go with Cincinnati money line here. So for those 150 to 1,200, my last bet is 3-team parlay, 250 to win 850. And this is going to be Kansas City plus 3.5, Seattle minus 2.5, and Dallas plus 3.5.
So you put Kansas City and Dallas on the opposite sides of field goal losses, and then you gave Seattle a field goal win.
Yep.
And that was 250 for 850 in return. So just 3.5, 3 times your money, thereabouts. Yeah, a little more than 3 times.
Technically, it's a little over 2 to 1.
Well, 250, you get 850 back, right? So
yeah, because it's a 500. You get your money back, so it's actually 250 to win 600, which is like, little over 2 to 1.
I might be doing it wrong. I always think the other way.
I know. I've been trying to think differently since
I always consider the risk, and then I consider a multiplier on it. So if I put $100 down and I get 300 in return, I'm thinking that's 3x. But if you're looking at it, it's actually just $200 of profit because the 100's netting you double your money.
Double your money, right? Exactly. Right. And it's tough to do it that way. It's much easier to do it the way we've done it for so long, which is what you're saying, which is you're winning 3 times your money. Like, no, you're not. You're winning 2 times your money,
and you're getting
you're getting 3 times your money back. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But I look at it, if the bet craps out, you get 0. Right? So the investment's already made. So then what are you getting back after that? But
right. I mean, listen, if I'm betting, I know. If I'm betting 200 and the ticket cashes out 1,000, I'm telling people I won $1,000. You know what I mean? Like, you don't say, "Oh, I won 800." Like, no, you.
Yeah, that's why I always say getting back, because I'm not saying it's profit, because obviously the profit would be, minus the initial investment.
Right. Right.
So, but what does it matter, right? The bottom line is it's the bankroll, right? Where does your bankroll stand, at the end of the week?
I'm
So,
10 weeks in and I'm, up some money with my long-term bets still to go. So I'm doing good. Not as good
we
as
had the
last year
monster
yet,
week, and you know what sucked is that after I almost chased, I was going to put $1,000 on Green Bay and Kansas City. I think on the money line, or I don't know. I had it where I had it where it's basically put in 1,000 to get about 1,000 back, a little bit more than 1,000, maybe 1,200 back. And I said, I don't know. I've never done that. I'm not going to start doing it now, but I wanted to because after I had thought about the mistake of going with Atlanta, I was just like, you know what? I really did like Green Bay. And I listened to all these stupid podcasts and everybody was talking about Pittsburgh. And I was like, I hate Pittsburgh. Like Green Bay should go in there and thump them because, I don't
and
think
they
they're
did.
that good. And they did. And then I thought the same thing about Kansas City. I thought there was no way Kansas City was going to lose that game. They'd be in command the whole time. I didn't care what argument. But I've never done bets after the fact, so I didn't do it there. I did it in my personal account, so that was okay, but not for the show.
The Kansas City spread was a joke. That was an unbelievable defense. That's an unbelievable defense at home against possibly, two backups, backup quarterback, backup running back. Like,
I couldn't figure it out. When I sat down and I finally thought about it because I lost in my personal account as well. And so I was like, you know what, I am going to chase here. For the show I didn't, but in reality, in my personal account I did chase because I'm a sucker and I'm a terrible gambler. And I when I put it together, I was just like, no, I mean, come on. I listened to all arguments about Marcus Mariota and, they were going to be able to somehow piece it together. And I said, no, they're not. Kansas City's going to crush them. And I think Aaron Rodgers, again, it's just such a joke. And so I think
Boynton Beach High School. What?
Yeah, I know. As we're recording here, they're already playing this game here, and they're showing high school. That wasn't Jackson, was it, or was it old school Lamar Jackson?
Yeah, no, he went where I live. He was right down the street.
Okay,
yeah.
All right. So those were clips of him. I didn't see. I just looked up and I saw. But I think it's Sunday Night Football where they show the high school football clips every Sunday. So I didn't know if that was the deal. But
okay, we get it. We get it, man. You have diamond teeth. We get it.
Well, everybody has diamond teeth. I would stay away from diamond teeth. Cam Scatterbo got diamond teeth, and then all of a sudden, ankle went the wrong way. So, did you think it was a hip tackle as we punch out here?
Of course.
It was, right? I mean, I know technically he did not swing his legs underneath Scatterbo's, but, I mean, it was only because he was reaching with everything else in the hip drop tackle.
It's the definition. If it's the definition of what they don't want players to do.
Yes, I said it was a definition of a hip drop tackle, and I think probably because he doesn't swing the legs underneath, I guess it doesn't meet the textbook definition. But if you watch the momentum and how Scatterbo gets pulled back because Bourne is holding back. I mean, he's putting his leverage around his hips, leaning backwards, and he's dragging his feet. He's put all of his leverage into pulling him down backwards.
Yep.
He didn't pull his. That is what they don't want to do because ultimately you go backwards and it pops everything, pops knees, all kinds of injuries. So, but I mean, I don't know. I mean, Scatterbo, I feel bad for him because he was a fun watch, but
he was great.
He'll be back. Yeah, he'll be back. That's it. We're done. We're out. So, call a wrap. As always, thank you for listening. Yeah, hopefully you got something. Don't get something from me. Get something from Chris over there because he's the one that's hitting everything. I can't. Maybe do it. Nope, I got to do it this way. Nope, that's the wrong way. This way. Yeah. Do it from Chris over there in that part of the screen because he's the one that's hitting everything. Anyway, that's it. Out. Peace.
Adios. Todd Monken.